Hello everyone, we'll be featuring yet another Frosthaven duo. This time it's the Deathwalker and the Geminate tackling the first scenario of Frosthaven. So if you're cool with those spoilers and are ready, buckle up, we are heading straight into the game. It's time to execute our intricate plans, but we'll see if the monsters will scupper them with their moves. So let's draw some cards. The Shaman begins first and does nothing. Well, technically it does something because this is a heal. It's going to move into melee range. That is actually annoying. It actually kind of ruins my plans. So my original intention with the Geminate's turn was to inflict poison onto the Algox Shaman. By poisoning the Shaman, this allows our City Guard to actually possibly inflict some damage on the Shaman. So yeah, my plan was actually to use a basic move to move here so that I can use Hornet Stinger here for the pierce damage as well as the poison. That got scuppered because the Shaman moved to the right. So now I'm no longer in range for Hornet Stinger. So instead, I have to do the other set of actions, which is drag down top, which is going to be an attack to immobilize on the guard. This will prevent the guard from moving this turn, although it still gets strengthened. So let's go back to the board and perform this attack 2 in this formation. That's an attack 1. And then we'll use the move 2 heal 2 to still move here. The Shaman was here. So this allows us to gain line of sight against the archer here for our next turn. And that's important because by playing the top of drag down, we have now changed form. The guard's turn is immobilized, so it doesn't move, but it still strengthens. The archer's turn, it has range 4. This does not reach us. And finally, with the Deathwalker, we are taking blank turn this turn essentially to set up. We are going to basically play a bunch of shadow tokens. We'll generate 3 shadow tokens here. And yeah, this possibly, I mean, like, this is a pretty solid first turn for the Deathwalker. Like, you get all your shadows up, as many as you can on the first turn, and then this powers your future turns. So we put the shadows up, we also get darkness up, and we move straight into the second round. My apologies, last turn I forgot to resolve the City Guard's move. Yeah, I mean, I know the City Guard isn't going to do much against the 2 shield Shaman, but it still gets to draw a card. Oh, it actually does something. That's a +1, so it does 1 damage to the Shaman. You go, City Guard! We have a pretty exciting turn 2 lined up for you here. Our objective is to kill the Algox Archer. Wait and see how we are about to do that. But first, let's see if the monsters are going to ruin our plans. The Archer is going to go first. This is probably a good thing. Let's review the Archer card. The Archer is a normal, so it has a base movement of 2 + 1, 3 movement, range 4, attack 2. It just needs to move 1 step to get into range 4 of the Geminate and perform an attack 2. And then the Shaman does the same thing again. There's no one within range 3, so the heal does not go off. We are getting very, very lucky with the Shaman draws here. Now, all 3 of my characters get to go in sequence, starting with the Geminate. After much thought, the first thing I'm going to do with the with the Geminate is to use my minor healing potion. It seems a bit too early to use it, but given that the guard is strengthened and is about to perform a very strong attack, we want to be at full health. Now we'll proceed with our plan that we laid out, which was to use 2 attacks, the bottom of Harvest the Essence for an attack 3, and the top of Flaring Hatred for an attack 3, possibly attack 5. This will be against the Algox Archer, who is exactly at range 4. So we'll start with the bottom attack first. And now the top attack. Muddling ourselves is not a good idea here because it drastically reduces the chance of us killing it. Because we know that the Deathwalker will definitely come in to clean up with its range attack. So I think I'm going to play safe here by simply drawing 1 card for an attack 3. If it's a ×2 or +2, it kills anyway. Close, but no cigar. Next, the Deathwalker will perform the bottom of Forceful Spirits to teleport. This is a very flexible teleport move that allows us to teleport not only to a shadow hex, but a hex adjacent to the shadow is valid as well. So we're going to make use of that, and then we'll perform a range 4 attack. So we're going to teleport right here and perform the range 4 attack on the archer. Wow. Alright, this is very dead. And we are done. The City Guard performs its attack as usual. No damage because of shield. And now the guard punishes us by moving one step here, targeting the Geminate for a strengthened attack. That's 5 damage, I think. The guard has base 3, so +1/+1, that's 5. Good thing we used the healing potion. Next round. So we did accomplish our mission of killing the archer. The problem is that the Algok's guard is now breathing down our necks. Let's see what it's gonna do this turn. Alright, this is interesting. The Shaman goes first. It's going to move to avoid this advantage. There's only one possible place for it to move, that is here, and it will perform its attack. This is a Pierce 2 attack for 2 damage and disarm. Oof! 4 damage. That's nasty. Now the guard goes next, and it is going to perform a ranged attack. I want it to move one step back. It will target the Deathwalker due to initiative. +1, so that's 4 damage. We are taking a lot of damage here, but now it's our turn to pay back. We're going to begin with the Deathwalker, who played a move to poison bottom. So we're going to move to this way. This is difficult terrain and poison an adjacent enemy. Then we are going to use Strength of the Abyss to perform an attack 3 on the Shaman. Woo! That's an attack 8. Attack 4 due to poison times 2. That's 8 damage, -2 shield. So now it's down to 1 HP. Which is very interesting, because now the City Guard moves over. It is disarmed, so it does not get to attack. Following that is the Geminate. I've played move 3 jump. I'm going to move all the way down here and perform reshape the guys to gain regenerate on myself. There's nothing to loot. The main purpose here is to get my health back up because we are in danger zone right here. And that's the end of the turn. Our Geminate has also flipped back to the melee form from playing the move 3 jump last turn. Let's see how this turn works out for us. Alright, the Shaman is performing a heal, which would be annoying. And the guard is going to move a lot. Right, so both... this is not very ideal. But we'll see what we can make out of this. So the Geminate will move first. Regenerate for 1 health. We can actually let the Shaman heal off its poison. Why? We will look at that later. But instead, what I can do now is that I can put up Horn Beetle Carapace, which will grant me plus attack for the next 4 rounds. And then I'm going to put up Retaliate 1, Shield 1, because why not? Next we have the Shaman. It's not going to move. It will simply heal itself to remove the poison. The guard moves next. Now this is the troublesome part because it will come into melee range of our Deathwalker and target it. Thankfully it's only an attack 2, but this should be enough to kill our Deathwalker. Yep, it is. So we will have to avoid damage by losing a card. So I'm really not happy about losing the card there. I chose to lose Sunless Apparition, but there's nothing much we can do in that situation. I was hoping to go before the Algok's guard got to move. The Deathwalker here will perform a move 2. It will move down here. And then it can move all shadow tokens 1 space. The next thing it says is that I can perform the top action, which is Restless Souls. All allies and enemies adjacent to or occupying a hex with a shadow suffer 1 damage. So that's both the Algok Shaman, which now dies, and the guard, which takes 1 damage. Finally, the City Guard's turn. It will simply move 1 step to the left. It's not within range to perform an attack. We are now down to 1 last enemy, the Algok's guard that we have been trying to dance around this entire game. The good news is, both of its fast cards have already been pulled out. So most likely, it's going to play something slower or middle speed. So we should be able to do something to the guard before it gets to act. In which case I can declare a long rest here for the Deathwalker, who has 2 cards in hand which are not very useful at this stage. Alright, so the guard performs a Retaliate 2. So the Retaliate 2 is probably the worst possible card for it to draw because I intended to use my Ambitious Dare to perform an attack for stun. Even though I will get poisoned and wounded, because I have Regenerate, I will be able to recover those conditions at the start of my next turn. But with the Retaliate damage, I will no longer be able to do so. So unfortunately, this means I have to switch my actions yet again. I'll be performing the other half of my cards. I'm going to use Flailing Tendrils for the attack, because it's a melee attack that hits up to 2 hexes away. I will not take Retaliate damage. So this is an attack 2 muddle. And because I have Hornbeetle Carapace up, it becomes an attack 3 muddle. 2 damage because of shield, and it's muddled. I do not get to switch forms, but I do get to perform a move 2 here. Basic move 2. And I will also recover 1 health from the Regenerate. At initiative 50, the City Guard moves forward. At 51, sorry. It will move forward and perform an attack on the guard. Unfortunately, this will kill our City Guard due to Retaliate. Ah, that is unfortunate. There's nothing we can do to stop that. So let's just draw the modifier here. That's 2 damage, and our guard dies. Finally, our Deathwalker is performing a long rest here, recovering 2 health. On the long rest, my Deathwalker chose to lose Forceful Spirits, and my Geminate is going to perform a short rest here. I'm going to hit this once and pull the top card. Oh no, I can't have that. Oh no. I was planning to use this card to immobilize the guard. But if I lose 1 health here, I'm going to lose my regeneration. That is very bad. That is very, very bad. I think I will have to lose 1 card here. This is too good to lose. I will lose this card. Flaming Tendrils, that's fine. I hope. So now we continue on. And the guard is going to perform Shield 1 Retaliate 2. Interesting. Alright. In that case, my Geminate will proceed with the plan. It's going to move 1 step west. And perform Drag Down. By moving 1 step west, I also get to heal 2 self thanks to the bottom of Hornet Stinger. And Drag Down will allow me to immobilize the guard next turn. And now we perform an attack 2. -1, so that's no damage because the guard has shield 1. And Drag Down also flips us back to range form. Did I mention we got a heal 2? Yes, we should get 2 more hit points. Now it's the Deathwalker's turn. So this turn was kind of strange because I really wanted to put up my Call to the Abyss. It feels a bit strange to be doing this now, especially given that now my hand size is 8. Yep, this Deathwalker's not gonna last very long, but I hope that this will help power our damage for a good second room. So we're gonna put this in our active area and hope to generate a shadow from killing the Inox in this room. We then get to move all shadow tokens up to 2 hexes. Also, to make a quick correction, when I did Drag Down with Geminate, Hornbeetle Carapace was up, so I do get 1 extra damage in, but that also means that this ticks down 1 more. Alright, we should hopefully kill the guard this turn, and hopefully with the Deathwalker. Okay, so we will begin with the Geminate, who will do nothing on its turn. But since I played the bottom of Changeling's Boon, I may as well make use of it. After put this in my active area, so when I deal 3 damage on my turn, I can consume all waning elements to generate an element. This could be useful later on. So that's the bottom. My top action will be forfeited. Now, it's the Deathwalker's turn. We played Move 2 Poison on Lingering Rod, followed by Strength of the Abyss, which gives us an attack 3. So we're going to move here. We're going to poison the guard. And this means that as long as I draw a -1 or better, this will be a kill. However, if I do draw a -2 or a null, this game will end very badly for me because the guard will strengthen itself, it'll be in melee range, it'll get to perform an attack. So I have to play safe here. I am going to use my Eagle Eye Goggles to attack at advantage. Right, I did not need them, but it was nice to have the security. So the guard is defeated, and this generates a shadow token here. So now I have 4 shadow tokens on the board. With all the enemies gone in the first room, we are going to perform one turn of setup before opening the door. We're going to let the Deathwalker go first with a standard move 2, followed by Rest in the Shade Top. This generates darkness and allows us to heal both to full. Then the Geminate goes. It's going to use the bottom of Reshape the Guise. This will be a lost card, allowing us to move 2. Generate an element. We'll generate fire here, and we'll recover one lost card. That card will be Flailing Tendrils, as it's the only lost card that we have. We could have recovered Hornbeetle Carapace, but since we have 2 charges left, might as well get the most out of it. And yeah, as I mentioned, we'll be generating fire with this card, and we will not bother with Selfless Offering because everyone's at full health. With the first room complete, I want to review the Deathwalker's performance this room. Now, as you might have remembered, I opened this room by placing 3 shadow tokens using Eclipse's Loss and Call to the Abyss bottom. Seeing how the room panned out, the 3 shadow tokens did not really do much. The only thing I used the extra shadow tokens for was to power up Strength of the Abyss, the card that says attack X, where X is the number of shadow tokens you have out. That card is useless unless you have 3 or more shadow tokens, because then it would then be better than the basic attack too. But even at 3 tokens, it's just marginally better. It's not really worth performing this sequence of actions on your first turn, and as a result being not very useful in combat. What I should have done was actually to swap my top and bottom on the first turn. So I get the persistent loss effect of Call to the Abyss up, which allows me to generate shadow tokens as I kill enemies in the room, whilst using Eclipse's bottom to position myself and, more importantly, to generate darkness. Now, remember that the baseline for Strength of the Abyss's top was an attack 3 melee. If I have darkness up using Eclipse's bottom, I can boost my range attacks from attack 2 to attack 3, rivaling that of Call to the Abyss. This allows me to still manage my damage output whilst preserving Eclipse's top action, the one that places 2 shadow tokens, for later, where, you know, placing those extra 2 shadow tokens has more impact. As you saw, I didn't use those 2 shadow tokens for anything else during this first room, so I could have played it at a later time instead of wasting my first turn on it. And as you saw, in the end, the 3 enemies in the room, the guard, the shaman, and the archer, were actually all killed by the Deathwalker. The Deathwalker got the last hit on every single one of them. So I could have generated 3 shadow tokens had I went with this plan. Instead, by not playing Call to the Abyss until the final kill, I missed out on 2 shadow tokens. So that was a misplay there. Forgive me, as always. This is my first time playing with the Deathwalker. That being said, I still feel that even with perfect play, Deathwalker has a lot of restrictions. Even in its main role of dealing damage, because its cards really don't do much else, the Deathwalker is mediocre at that. To deal big damage using cards such as the Lingering Rot's top action for attack 4 poison on multiple enemies, it requires you to lose both a card from your hand as well as a shadow token. This is such a big cost to play. If you are not willing to pay that cost, then you're just dealing 3 damage every turn for a non-loss action that doesn't consume shadow tokens. That is really bad compared to other classes. It also must be mentioned that this class has no crowd control at all. I found that a huge challenge. I was not able to keep the Algok's guard at arm's length. Yeah, I had to rely on the Geminate to do that with the Immobilize ability from Drag down, because I simply couldn't disable enemies. I had no Immobilize, no Disarm, no stun effects on my card. So I could not neuter enemy damage output. As soon as they drew a move and attack card, well, they were getting a hit in. And neither could I shield or protect my allies to muddle them with disadvantage, because the Deathwalker just doesn't have those cards. So that is a huge problem, I think. You're not doing enough damage in the first room, and you're not protecting your allies from damage either. So this is going to be a huge problem, especially in a 2-player scenario where you can't always rely on your allies to do that. Now, there is a subtle upside to this, and that is that the mobility isn't too bad. Sure, it doesn't have a lot of movement cards per se, but you are able to manipulate your shadow tokens around the room, as I think I did, and then teleport to them, which was really helpful in leaping past that difficult terrain, the log that was smack dab in the center of the T shape of the room. So with the teleport ability, I was able to jump ahead to my shadows and thus not have to suffer the negative effects of difficult terrain. Definitely requires more forward planning than other characters because you need to first move your shadow token into place before teleporting there. But I think it's pretty effective, especially when we get to later scenarios where I can potentially see more hazardous terrain and obstacles being in effect. You can you can get past obstacles and walls even, whereas other characters can't. Some characters don't have jump in Frosthaven. So yeah, definitely something that is worth noting. Deathwalker is not all useless, but at the end of the day, I think it's still a little too weak, especially in a two-player context. We'll see if that cost us the second room. Tune in next time to find out. Bye.